Councillor, okay, I'm on. I wasn't on, I'm sorry. Yeah, we have one regret from Deputy Warden Albright. So as we do every meeting, it's always an invitation to stand. You all know that if you get tired, just don't sit there, just move around and whatever. It's good for your posture. So we have an agenda. Are there any additions or anybody have anything to add to the agenda?
There's a musical interlude.
Yes, exactly. Do you want, somebody wants something on the agenda? Anyway, if there's none, the agenda stands approved as presented. Any conflict of interest declaration, if you have any conflict, you can declare them now, or you can declare them when we get to the item that you feel you have conflict with. We have no presentations. And the next item is recognizing Argyll. This is where your councillors, if you have anything that you've attended or if you want to bring something up, now's the time. And I have Councillor D'Entremont. You're on.
I'm on, thank you. Figured I'd press my button as quick as I could because I figure other people might say this one. Shout out to the Panama Sharks senior boys hockey team for going undefeated and bringing home the provincial banner this past weekend in Cape Breton. That was, we some of us watched it on MC Media or whatever they had. It was a great games and great tournament for the Panama Sharks. Also, we have a Hayden Denowden, whose mom is Cheyenne, originally from West Pamlico. Proud grandparents are Alva and Christine D'Entremont. He won a bronze medal at the 2023 Canada Games in slalom skiing. The event's called Men's Alpine Para Slalom. Hayden is visually impaired, but that hasn't stopped him. Hayden, with his skiing partner, Ziana Khalifa, hopefully I said that right, who guides him down the hill as they have a mic system, headsets, and they talk to each other or whatever. Anyway, so he won a bronze medal at the Canada Games. I know that Alva and Christine were there. It was at, even though the Canada Games were in PEI, the skiing was at Crab Mountain in New Brunswick. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I have Councillor Bourque.
Yes, thank you. Just want to shout out to CAPEB, Conseil Acadien de Paramba. They sponsored all the local halls, whoever wanted to participate in for breakfast and our supper at the Eastside Community Center. So it was a success. We served the whole municipality, I'd say 460, 480 people. So they help all the community halls or an organization for the Mardi Gras breakfast and supper. Thank you. That's all.
Very good. Anybody else? I attended I didn't walk, but the coldest night of the year. Last year we had a team in there. We didn't get a team this year, but I attended the opening, and they are doing very, very well. I think they collected around $29,000 for that this year. All total for since they started this, which is only 5 years ago, they're over 115 or whatever $1,000 in, and this goes to Shift House, which is a very, very good organization for the youth. The things they do is just amazing for how they cater to the youths in need. So now, we didn't walk. I didn't stay for the closing, but they did very, very well. Councillor Surratt.
Just to pitch in that the Club Social des Îles will have a brunch on the 19th of March from 11 to 2. And it's, I guess, Robbie pie, there'll be salads and cold cuts and all that. So as to benefit our our village. Thank
Exactly.
you.
Thank you. Councillor Digdon.
Thank you. I was invited last evening and attended an evening with the ladies in Yarmouth with the Tri-County Women's Center. It was a great evening. Trish McCourt and her crew put on a very good evening. There was a lot of laughs, a lot of fun, but there was a lot of serious talk as well about the inequities right now that still faced today by the women. And that, so it was a great evening, had by all. Big shout out to them for a good evening.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Woodrow.
Just want to mention that we had a community meeting. It was about the rectory in the Wedgeport Parish. And we had a half decent turnout, and we got quite a few, well, not a few, but a couple of good ideas that we could move forward and hopefully save the rectory from being sold. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. No, I don't see anybody else. So we'll move on. We have the adoption of minutes. We have the February 23rd, the special council minutes, meeting minutes. If there are any errors or omissions. Seeing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. And we have the February 23rd Executive Council meeting minutes. Any, okay, Councillor Sonia.
Yes, under 10 finances, 10B, I made a motion last meeting about requesting $500 through the Plymouth Hall for the funding of a community sign. And it says here that the $500 for the Plymouth Hall.
Okay.
So I would like to amend that and add that it's for a community sign
Okay.
and not for the hall.
And that's
Okay.
noted, so
Thank you.
that'll be corrected. Are there any other errors or omissions? Seeing none, minutes stand approved as read, as presented as well. Warden's report, there's an attachment. I don't know if anybody has any questions on that. It wasn't as busy a month for me, February, as normal, which was good, but I did attend quite a few meetings. If there's no questions, we go to committee reports, and we'll just go by committee. Yarmouth Area Industrial Commission, is there any reports on that? Councillor Surratt.
There's not a whole lot, but there's a little bit of more movement on the Harbour South Medical Center. We're into the final negotiation for the lease with Nova Scotia Health on the Harbour South, and so things are going well, and it could be towards the end of March that lease might be finalized. So we're just keeping our fingers crossed.
Okay, that's
But I
good.
have two colleagues, if they have anything else to add. That's the only really update that I have at the moment.
Nothing there, other than what I said last week, with the vesture of the wall is just going along.
Right.
Nothing to do.
Okay, thank you. Remo executive meeting. Anybody have anything to report on that? No? No report on that. Mariner Center Management Authority, that's the board. No reports. Mariner Center Expansion Steering Committee, that would probably come from our deputy warden. Is there anything we have to report on that?
Mr. Chair, I
Yeah.
don't believe there was a meeting.
Oh, there hasn't been a meeting between the, okay. Acadian Shore, Yarmouth,
Just excuse me,
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Just about the Mariner Center Management Authority, things are going well. And there is going to be like a lot of work coming up in the future as to what's going to go on and how the board is going to actually be working and that towards the new project and that. But everything seems to be going well. We're getting a lot of good remarks from the way the center is working right now, and the Mariner Center and the staff and the public seems very happy with everything. So
Okay,
it seems to be going well.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councillor D'Entremont? Oh, that's the Yarmouth and Acadian Shores. Yes.
I don't know if you guys were, I do believe you've probably seen the press release that the CEO, Neil McKenzie, released about the room nights. And so they were talking about the room nights in 2022. Of course, we went through 2 years of COVID with not too many room nights sold. But so the highest gains in Nova Scotia were in Yarmouth, Acadian Shores, where sales were up 51%. So 29,000 more room nights sold. So that's pretty impressive. It's a pretty strong trend. Of course, the running of with the cat back in circulation, that definitely helped a lot, and we're hoping to see some more gains this year. Also, the Nova Scotia government is legislating room tax levies throughout the province. Here in Yarmouth and Acadian Shores, we do have a room levy that was the group we called the MPLAC, who are equal funders with the other three municipal units for YASTA, and that was the hotels that have 20 or more rooms. So of course, that was only the only ones that are 20 or more are basically all in the town of Yarmouth. So they're hoping to have a levy with all accommodations to kind of just level out the playing field. That levy, the money is used for marketing. I guess you're collecting from your customers, but that money is being used to market yourself, basically. So anyway, I think our deputy CEO or deputy Scott Surratt has been talking with Neil McKenzie, and he's on the case. So we will hear more about that. How's that? So thank you.
Good, thank you. Councillor Dickon.
Thank you. And I don't know who this should be asked to or not. And I just know about, as far as you being with tourism involved quite a bit, I see there's some new guidelines coming out for Airbnbs. And I know that's a big thing in our area around here. And I know in the summer, a lot of people use them, not only in the summer. And people come around, they stay, they use these Airbnbs. I don't know if it's going to hurt our area as far as people coming in, or if it's been looked at, or whatever. It's just I guess something that I don't know if we should look into or not, or see, what it's going to actually do to people coming into our area. And that's.
Yep, you're on, yeah.
Yeah, so that's province-wide. So everywhere in the province, everywhere where there's Airbnbs, there'll be the same rules and regulations, right? So each municipal unit can make their own, I don't know if it's a bylaw or policy or what it is, but basically, again, that levy is being collected and being paid by the customer, either an Airbnb here in Argyle or one in Cape Breton.
That's right.
And that money being used for marketing. So basically, it's a way of generating money to market all those people, because right now, Municipality of Argyle, Municipality of Yarmouth Town, and the MPLAC, which is the levy fund, we do the marketing, right, through Yarmouth and Acadian Shores, and everybody benefits, right? So it's just a way, again, of collecting more money to market them. So I don't think, I mean, levies are everywhere now. So, it's everywhere you go, probably there's a levy. You might not even see it, but, they are collecting money to market and to promote their area. So,
Yeah, and I'm well aware of the levy system and how that works. I'm just hoping that it's gonna not be something that's gonna force our Airbnbs to close down. Whereas people that would wanna come in and use these Airbnbs
Yeah.
will not be able to use them. or-
yeah, the fee would be, I don't know, maybe 3% or something. So let's say it's an accommodation of $200 a night, it would be $6, right? So, and again, paid by the customer, not paid by the person that owns the Airbnb,
Yeah.
right? So you collect from the customer. So,
Yeah, no, just something I thought
Yeah.
I'd bring up,
Yes,
that's all.
that's
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you. The next one is Yarmouth County Solid Waste Park. Anything to report? Nothing to report on that one. Yarmouth International Airport Corporation. Anything on that one? Councillor Surratt.
Just a couple of things. Just basically everything's going pretty good. They've sent for that community funding to make an assessment on the power that's being used. What it costs, and that's ongoing. But also we've signed an agreement with CMA, Programme Mondial Acadien, in 2024. It's pretty hush-hush. There's a signed agreement, but they're going to be doing something big at the airport.
That's
It's
good.
pretty hush-hush. I don't even know what it is, just our general manager knows at the moment, but they're going to be using our facilities. And we've had 3 applicants for a citizen rep. We had one person that was a citizen rep that's left here a few months ago, and we've had 3 applications, and we've picked one, but I can't say anything. They're sending the letter to that person.
Okay,
That's it.
thank you. Nikhil Board. Councillor Bork.
I guess it's basically business as usual at Nikhil. Gail is retiring the end of March. So the new administrator has been at Nikhil, following the staff around and assessing everything and getting accustomed of what's going on there. So she seems to be very positive. And that's about it that's going on at Nikhil.
Okay, thank you. Western Counties Regional Library. Oh, I have something. Maybe Councillor Surratt had a question on that, or?
No, just to answer what you just said there.
Okay, that's what I
Ren.
mean. Go.
Very
Yeah.
good. Just to say, we had our meeting last week, Liaison Oversight Committee. Lot of things I'm learning through there. Lot of new things. Anyhow, we'll be meeting this year. They used to meet with the board, the rent board, once a year. We're going to try to meet twice a year to just to get more of what's going on with them. We've kind of lost touch with what they're doing, and it's our job to oversee what they do. So that's a commitment we've made. We also have said we were going to have 3 meetings per year instead of 2 for just the liaison oversight. Otherwise than that, we've also appointed 2 people to be on the audit committee. And we have elected 1 person for the board. We'll need another one for the actual board. That's our mandate, to provide people on the board. And that's it for the
you.
moment.
The Western Counties Regional Library.
There's nothing to report since the last. We're having our meeting next week for the library.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good enough. Thank you. So we did the RAN. Argyle Recreation. Does anybody have anything to report on recreation? Councillor Bork.
We had our meeting, let me see, sorry, February the 16th. Wanted to report that they're doing a pilot project for day camps, and there is an age group that's missing. So it's the 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
So anyway, they're gonna do a pilot project and partnering with the Jardin des Petits, and it will be held at the Belleville School. And I think it will be about 5 or 6 weeks, if we're not quite sure. So it's a pilot project. So it will take one education from the education child teacher, or whatever you call it, from Jardin des Petits, and 2 students they'll
Okay.
hire for that. So it's quite, I'm glad they're doing that because we had a response from the public with that.
Yes.
So it's a pilot project, and they're thinking there's about 20 kids that are eligible for this program, so, which is good. The speed tracker is supposed to be in West Pamlico at the school. And later it will be installed around the Creamy Treat when the Creamy Treat will be open. So that's all I have to report for that there.
Thank you. Police advisory, anything? We have Councillor Boudreau.
Yeah, we've been without a RCMP lead for quite a while, and I got an email today. It seems like we've got an RCMP lead. So her name is Carolyn Schaffner. She's the department detachment commander. So it looks like we've got a lead. Finally, we'll have meetings on different topics, from speeding to different traffic violations.
Right.
Thanks.
And they're looking for priorities, which is on.
Yeah, exactly. Looking for
on here
priorities.
anyway,
Yeah.
so, yeah. Thank you. Doctor recruitment, we don't have our deputy warden here to report on that one. Waste check. Anything to report? Don't see anybody. Sewer committees, I have nothing on the Tusket, Wedgeport and Pubnico. There's really nothing. Okay, I see Councillor Boudreau.
I'm just wondering about the sewers in Wedgeport. I think the tender was supposed to be done today. Is there any information on that, Scott? Do you know if there's
To you, Councillor Boudreau, it was extended. I don't know- Again, yeah, so I think it's in March. I don't have the exact, I think 8th and 9th was maybe what I had.
Today's.
we are the 9th, yeah.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
it might have been today. So
Yeah.
It might have, yeah. So, I know it was extended, so that's as much as I know.
Okay, yeah. I was just wondering if you had heard from Kyle any information on that today.
No, I have not.
Okay, thank you.
Our CL.
Yeah, this is more procedural, through you, is that, typically when we have tender openings, if we're gonna open them ourselves, we would ask a counselor be present. So the fact, I don't have a solid indication of the exact date myself. Kyle would know it for sure. But those tenders, there's been no report brought to us on that at this time. I think it must be very soon. I know he's on a short leave, but he would have committed to it. 23rd. Okay, so we just got the confirmation, 23rd of March.
Okay.
So the good part about, the bad part about delays is that it delays the project. The good part about delays is it gives people more time to look at the numbers and crunch them a little harder. When you give companies too little time, sometimes they build too many contingencies in their pricing. So I will say that we're cautiously optimistic that we can get through this one, right? Because I know that in the fall we had a bit of a hiccup there on the price. So.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Warden, did you, Deputy CAO, did you have, I see your light was on.
No.
Okay. So that's the reports. We have the clerk's report. Nothing. And we have the department head report. Someone going to, that's Councillor Dickin.
Yeah, no, just something I was gonna bring up. I was looking at the reports again this month. Something we used to get, and I don't see it here the last couple of months or so. I always enjoyed looking at it just to see what was going on in my area as far as growth or what is building permits and stuff like that. And I was just wondering if we could at least get that again, or.
Yes, absolutely. That's no problem. It just kind of dropped off the radar when we put down the clerk's report and the department head report. We forgot about that one. So next time I'll make a note. It will be on there for you.
Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much.
Okay. We're down to number 10, which is the 7-day notice. And we have a policy that needs to be rescinded, and it's the COVID-19 policy. We're no longer in the emergency mode, so I guess the policy is no longer valid for every day. So it's just 7-day notice that that will be coming up. We don't need a motion on the 7-day notice. And the next one is rescind and replace Article P9, eliminating conflict. And there's an attachment, and again, this is a 7-day notice. I don't know if anybody has any questions on that one. Okay. For decision, Article C16, income property tax exemption. This is something that we discussed the last time with our 7-day notice, and there was a few comments about maybe there should be some changes. And what I'm going to do, okay. No, did you want to?
I was for the other items, yes.
No. Oh, you had something for the other item?
So,
Okay. Yeah, so there has been a few amendments to what we saw last time, if you've had a chance to look at it. It was raised from 0 to 19 to 0 to 25 for the 300, and then 25 to 29 for 2, and 2901 to 44 for 100. Go ahead, Councillor Shrey.
I just want to mention, that I really, really like this. This is well put together. I prefer this one, but again, I'm just one person, but I really like the way this has been set up. And I know our staff worked hard on this and tried to figure out, there's some questions of how much will be on that lower part, on that bottom $100 exemption. Maybe you should have gone to 35,000 instead of 44, you know, but don't need to change it for me. I really like that. That's well put together. I prefer it better than the last one that was there. Thank you.
CO.
I just want to give like a tiny context to this. So first of all, Bonnie Durkee is the author and authored many different versions of this. I want to thank her out loud because I know I gave her about 18. How about this? How about that? How about this? And she probably gave me eyes, or not, or whatever. But anyway, it happened. She's the author of this and did an excellent job, in my opinion. So the couple of things we did was we eliminated the 19,000 as the low side. So what we looked at those numbers again, and we realized that maybe that was a little low. We also did another thing. We increased the top number. The top number was at 38. It is now at 44.
Yes.
What's the logic? The logic of the 44 is quite simply that the 44 represents the heating rebate threshold that many seniors look at for income. So we said, hey, if they're entitled to the rebate, if they're entitled to other things based on that threshold, that perhaps you make it easier for the customer or the resident to understand these thresholds instead of having 18 different ones. So that's the reason. So it's only $100. I say only. Okay. The other thing that changed was the tax exemption amounts have changed. They've reduced because what we heard at the last meeting was council wants to help more people, not necessarily few people with a lot, maybe more with a little less. So that's what was changed. That's the logic. So the only other thing I'd say is the 29,000 threshold represents what a single person would make under minimum wage. So if somebody, inherited a house or had a house, it's rather impossible to buy a house when you have that kind of income. But houses get passed and they get inherited and all those reasons. So what we're saying is if somebody is single and they made the full-time minimum wage, they would be entitled to a $200 tax exemption. I will say this just for a second time because I said it the last time. is that the seniors under this scenario, if they get the allowance, if they get old age and the allowance, and many do, they're entitled to 50% of property tax reduction through the provincial rebate program. So I did a little homework and talked to people that I know are in that range where they get like CPP, old age, GIS. What does that mean? How much income is it? And so it fits in that 29 to 44 range. And so what would happen is they'd get 50% rebate from the province on their taxes, but they would still be entitled to a $100 rebate from us. So it's an additional amount that they would be entitled to that they may not have been entitled to before. Okay. Now, keeping in mind, if we had a 7% increase on taxes, on assessment, on a, let's say, $800 bill, that's about $56. And what we're saying is that this will cover that and more. So we're targeting the increases in costs to the people who deserve it or need it. I mean, everybody deserves it, right? But the people who need it the most. That's the intention. It's the best work we've done. We've got it to this point. I'm sure we'll have some little hiccups and we'll have some adjustments perhaps in the future. We do also in an attachment have what our estimated cost might be based on projections, and many are projections. We're saying it cost us about 19.2 last year. It's likely to cost us closer to 43.6 this year. And that, of course, will be factored into your budget deliberations. So we would certainly hope that you could approve this today because you've had your notice and we've changed things hopefully to your liking.
Okay, I have Councillor Digdon first.
Thank you. And yes, again, very good piece of work done by you people and that your staff, it's an extra $7,500 if my calculations are right that it costs us from the difference from looking at last month till this month. And that, but I feel as though we're helping out more people and that with a little, then more people will more, and again, everybody needs help. And I honestly feel as though as a municipal council, and that when things get hard, this is our time to help these people. And I'd definitely be willing to make a motion and that to approve this and that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded by Councillor D'Entremont, moved by Councillor Digdon. I guess that's what, I had two lights and maybe that's what those were. So are there any more discussions on this?
Just wondering, sorry, Mr.
No, you're
Ward.
still on.
Thank you. I'm just looking, are we able to make a motion on this or is this a 7-day notice?
No, this is,
Okay.
we had this last time.
That's what
if you
I thought,
remember.
but I didn't know being as though it was
No,
different.
no, it didn't
Okay.
change enough that.
Good.
No.
I'd still,
Yeah.
my motion, yep.
Okay, so all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, carried. The next one is the Claire Argyle Tourism Project, and I'm going to pass this on to our Deputy CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I've shared you some information here. So a few months ago in October, November, I met with Larry Peach, the manager of tourism for the municipality of Clare. He kind of approached the municipality, approached me, but really the municipality in regards to partnering for two projects. And he had the idea, he kind of needs another partner, and it's really in preparation to the Congrès Mondial. But it's more than that. It's more than just preparation for the Congrès Mondial, because what these projects are for will be hopefully more like legacy project or stuff that would still be used after the Congrès Mondial. So in my request, I guess, to council or the decision that needs to be made tonight is that, does council still want me to continue to work with the municipality on these two projects? And two, there are funding requests there too. So the two projects combined are 15,000 each. The ask would be 15,000 each from the municipality for a total of 30,000. But that could be divided into two fiscal periods, right? It could be in the 23-24 and 24-25. So that can be divided, even though it's a lot of money, we could probably divide it into two fiscal years. So I'm just going to kind of do a Reader's Digest version of the two projects. The first project is probably one that you're very, very familiar with, is the interpretive panels that we already have in the area. There's 15 of them. They're all over. There's at the Village, there's one at the Chapelle in the Rocco Point. And there's also the way signs or the directional signs that are attached to that also. And in the RFD that I provide to you, there's pictures, so if you know, to show you what I mean. So it would be rebranding that interpretive panels and changing it and maybe modernizing it a little bit, because those panels were created back in 2008, 2009, so they have been there for 15 years. So, but according to Larry, who has been in the business a lot more than I have, certainly on the tourism side, says that they're still being used by tourists that come here, still ask for the map to go see these sites. So it's a good project, and it will continue for years after the Congrès Mondial. So that's project number one. Project number two is it's a creation of a strategic investment fund, and it would work similar to the grants to org. So what we would do, we'd have a pool of money for organizations that wanted to put applications for to organize events. But the goal would be to organize events that would happen outside of the normal, regular tourist season. So they called it on the shoulder of the tourist season. So something happening in February, something happening in November, there would be a pool of money for an organization to tap into. They would make application to the council, to the municipality. There would be criteria set out, which I don't have yet because we're not there yet. But those criteria would kind of dictate who would be, the winners of these application to get funding. And just to give you an example, it could be like the Tuna Museum or festival that goes on. It could be that they want to extend their festival, maybe rather than being 7 days, maybe it's 9 days, and they plan a couple of different more events. So they could tap into this, or maybe it's the local volleyball club that wants to do a big tournament and invite 20 teams in this area in the month of November. It creates a little more economic development. It creates possibility of tourism, more tourism dollars in our area. So we've Larry has already pitched this to ACOA. Because if you see my funding model there, 70% of this would all come out of ACOA. He's already made the pitch. They haven't approved it yet, but they say they like both projects. They're interested in it. The application's ready to go. It's kind of waiting on, I think, our municipality right now to say, yeah, this is a go, and he's ready to submit that to ACOA. There's another piece to it, the funding through the province, and we're hoping our MLA Colton may be able to help us with the Canadian Affairs for another percentage there. And then both Municipality of Clare and Argyle would pitch in $15,000 each for those projects. So again, yeah, I'm I guess looking for direction from council to continue, and a financial commitment from the municipality for the next 2 years.
I'm gonna have to shut one off. You'll have to press it again. I pressed 2 here. Councilor Brooke was first.
Thank you. I like these projects. Those panels that I see throughout the municipality are getting old and they're faded. I know we have one at the Hibson Bridge. I think there was one at the Lions Club too in Pamlico Head, because they had talked about who was going to take care of them or something like that. Anyway, the tourists are reading them. They're very informative, and for 2024 it would be excellent to have. And the other project, I think that is great. So I would like to make the motion, that suggested motion that we have here. Do you want me to read the motion?
Motion, yeah.
Move that council supports a partnership between the municipality of Argyle and the municipality of Clare for the Clare Argyle Acadian tourism projects with a financial contribution of $15,000 per project for a total of $30,000 divided among the next 2 fiscal years, 2023, 24, 2024, 2025.
Do we have a seconder or,
I guess I'll second it.
okay,
Since I have
then you
my
can.
mic on.
Yes,
I'm just wondering, I mean, Municipality of Clare, they have a tourism, I don't know, manager or officer, tourism manager. So Municipality of Argyle, we don't have a tourism manager. So who's going to take it on at the municipality?
oh. Press it again, it just got turned off. I'm gonna have to refresh or something, I'm not seeing you anymore. Try it again. There we go. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Good question. It's because we don't have the tourism, we don't have the community development, it kind of lands on my responsibility, and I'm happy to take that on. Actually looking forward to it and enjoying working with Larry with the municipality. So I don't see any issues there.
Councillor Digdon.
Thank you very much. I think it's a great thing, by the way. The only thing I'm wondering, this money that we're giving out, is that going to be given out after we find out for sure about COA and the provincial government is on board with us? Or,
Yes.
because if
Yeah.
not,
Yeah, the project's dead in the water. If a COA doesn't come up to the table and approves this and the province, then the project's probably, certainly a COA piece. If
just making sure,
Yeah.
because we don't want to give this money out.
No, it's not even gonna, like, we're not even gonna accept application unless we get the money right. So.
Thank you.
Okay, I have Councillor Saunier.
Thank you.
We'll turn off. Okay.
So you got funding for 2 years, so is this going to be an ongoing thing beyond 225?
At this point, it's probably only is for 2 years, but if we were able to tap money further, we would probably continue it, but I think it's gonna be a big benefit to the tourist community in this again, so.
I'm all for tourist money, and that's my point. I believe if this is successful, it should not be dropped. It should be looked further into, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and definitely, if we see that it's a big success, then we can bring it back to the table and say, hey, how can we figure out another pool of money? Maybe the municipality gives more, maybe we may be able to tap again into COA or the province. We can definitely, once we've started, if it goes well, I think we're on a better chance of probably getting money from the federal government. Then we can prove that it's actually benefiting our community.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, carried. The next one, 11C, bylaw 41, the maintenance and improvement of private road. And there's an attachment. That's not what that is now. So again, this is ready for voting on. We had discussed this before. So any question? I see Councillor Donaldson.
No, we've been dealing with this one for quite some time, so I think it's straightened out the way we want it now. I think it's time to make a motion and move this along.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, carried. Next one is the strategic plan action items, and I think that's what's on the screen. Is that what's on the screen? So I'm going to pass that over to our CAO.
Thank you. I'm going to try to go through this rather quickly because you've had this on the agenda for a while, and it's a lot of information. So, what I first want to say is that there are 3 attachments. One of which was the old draft that I brought to you in November that said, "Here's the mission, here's the vision, here are the goals." And then what we said was, And then we asked at that time, are we good? Should I keep going? And you said, yes, this is what we want, keep going. So that's what we did. So then what we have added is strategic action items to each goal. There is an Excel spreadsheet there that is rather technical. That is only for your reference to see that will be how we track these action items to be completed. And it will be done by the department heads or led by the leadership team, and they each have tasks to do. I had a document that I can't seem to open here, but I'll just say that document would say that there are, over 80 action items here. It sounds like a crap ton of action items. Some of them, however, are rather simple. And so they might be, write a letter. Some of them actually might even be, arguably not strategic. Maybe they're just a part of what we do. So I don't want you to be too afraid of the number. Keep in mind that this is a team effort over a 5-year course of time. Correct. So if we divided the work amongst 6 people, 80 becomes 80 divided by 6, and then you divide it by year, it becomes a different number again. So this was a source of intimidation for myself and for the leadership team. It's like, holy crap, who did this? So we know who did this, right? So and what have you done? So I think couple things about the strat plan and action items is they are fluid. They move. So some of these things may not be accomplished just because when you start digging into it, you realize that what you thought it was and what it was are 2 different things. This is designed specifically to pivot, adjust, delete, complete, incomplete, change. That's what this is for. Okay. I'm just going to highlight certain goals here. And highlight the fact that there are goals, and then there's what's called strategic actions. So the actions are the measurable outcomes. Okay, when we say, so one of the goals here would be accelerate and support economic growth across and inside the municipality. So every word there is significant. Accelerate and support, that means we don't necessarily lead it. We assist in its completion. Economic growth is done primarily by businesses, not by municipalities. Municipalities enable, accelerate, but they do not create. Businesses do that. Across and inside the municipality, very significant. Across the municipality is outside of our walls. Inside the municipality is inside of our walls. So how is it that we're going to increase economic growth inside the municipality and out? So what we said was the outcome would be that we would focus on 3 specific areas. One is sea-based industry, the other is renewable energy, and the third is Congrès Mondial and tourism experiences. Inside of those, there are objectives that we wish to achieve, and each of those objectives has an acronym next to them. So the first one, complete the ADA public engagement report for submission to the province. That's mine. That belongs to the CAO. The third one, for instance, would belong to the Western Ren, assuming they accept that, because they don't work for us directly. So some of these things have already begun, and some of them are actually already completed. So it's in fact, some of these actions, we just started to get going on them the moment we knew we had to do them. We didn't wait. So for instance, that number 1 is probably days away from being submitted. Okay. So some of these look big, but some of them also have begun. Under renewable energy, you'll see amendments to land use bylaw to encourage wind and solar energy. You are working on that right now. The CAO, the deputy CAO, has that in his lead. Just because the CAO or the deputy CAO or the REN or others are listed here, that makes them the champion. That doesn't mean they're doing every little bit of the work required under that objective. They are responsible for getting what it takes to get it done. Okay. Under renewable energy, you'll also see sign a successful development agreement with prospective wind developer for major wind projects in Argyle. We've talked about this before. This work has already begun. We hope that to be successful, the result will be a revenue generation. So those are the types of action items that we believe are strategic. because they're strategically what we're doing is strategically understanding that wind energy in Argyle is important and is accessible, and we're taking advantage of that. Above that, you would talk, there are some talks about ADA and aquaculture. That is also a strategic element that has not changed. However, the strategy on that is moving from creating that to actually moving it into an operational thing. Last on this one would be Congrès Mondial, and there's all sorts of objectives there. And I don't want to go in every little bit, but some of these you might find familiar, such as number 11, develop and approve a light pollution nuisance bylaw for the municipality. Why is that strategic? Because we know if we have dark sky, we can attract astrotourism. We're focusing on things that are happening already. We are not recreating. So in that instance, if there's pollution, light pollution, then it might be strategic of us to get a bylaw that makes sense for the community, but that also protects the light pollution in the area. That's under, and I'm gonna really scroll fast here because I'm just trying to illustrate where some of these action items, where do they derive from? What do they mean? You don't have to be an expert on every single one of these as council. These are things that the administration is going to take on. There are some things that you are being asked to take on, and I will approach those in a second. The other thing I would note as I'm scrolling down is that your leadership team, our leadership team, has looked at these. We've talked about them and we've analyzed them, and the ones that were no good were thrown out. We still don't know if we got them all. So they're comfortable. Well, at least, the conversation is, okay, we're reasonably comfortable. This is going to make us uncomfortable. It's going to be work on us, but we think we can do okay, especially if we have 5 years. Improve governance and community representation. This is the one where I feel like involves yourself and probably your executive assistant mostly. Most of these are already done, so no pressure. They're already done. Some of these are basically telling you why we've gone down this road. This is a perfect illustration. Number 24, repeal existing procedures bylaw in favor of a modernized policy and approach to council meetings. You've actually accomplished that, right? So I put EA on that because she was instrumental in making sure that the documentation was top notch and led it. And then so there's other things around wellness and EDIA language. So when I say EDIA, I mean equity, inclusion, and diversity. I think I missed one. What was the E? E is equity, diversity, inclusion, and accessibility. There we go. It took me a while to click into that one. So some of these are actually we're seeing legislation come down that addresses EDIA, right? So some is Accessibility Act, and the other is the Anti-Racism Act, both of which are coming down provincially. We got no choice. We got to deal with this. And so what we're doing is we've tapped on the shoulder of our recreation director and said, you're the most trained of all of us here. We need you to make sure that our language and our use is inclusive, is diverse and is accessible. So perfect illustration of that would be your newsletter. So your newsletter, you now have printed versions of that, because to only do it online is to not be inclusive of those that can't access it that way. Mm-hmm. So that language is going to hit your policies. It's going to hit the way that you do business, and it's going to take some time, but that's what we're implementing as one of the things that benefits you here in this room and also in the community. Some of these things, public engagement, representation, boundary review, again, old stuff done, right? Done, tick the box. I'll keep going here. So that was more council stuff. Keeping our residents and businesses safe. This talks about specific things that we want to do under fire services, police, and protective services. I separated them because police and fire are indirect services. We do not actually do them directly. The protective services is something we do directly. So inside of these, again, some of these might seem like, how come we've already done this? Yes, you have already done some of these things. Number 34, request additional provincial government funding for medical first responder services, which seek to support communities in absence of EHS services. The CAO led that. He brought that letter to you. And Danny, your warden, is now managing that situation because he was contacted
Yes.
by those individuals. So that's why we did that letter, because we were like, okay, we have to be strategic about this. The other item is reset the membership of the Police Advisory Board. That involves Gordon and Kathy. We're in the process of doing that. And then the Fire Services Review you recently approved, it gave me permission to kind of do some work under there. And then Protective Services, this is where we kind of justify, staffing up our fire inspection, staffing up an assisting building official, because we know the demand is up there and we did not have the sufficient staff to do it. This is basically strategically mentioning that. There are other items there as well. Play Argyle is where you would talk about your Mariner Center and where you would talk about other priorities that would make us a place of choice to play and live here. So the first one is obviously the rec facility, the Mariner Center. There are some others there. I would note number 49, Reset Experience Argyle event, to have an annual celebration in our community, but include a multicultural component. So this is where our world is changing, right? So we're very good at celebrating ourselves for who we thought we were. But now we have to think about how we celebrate ourselves with people new coming in, and to be more inclusive of new people and new cultures and new and in some cases limitations, disabilities, etc. So we have to be better in that area. So that's why something like that is worded in the way that it is. Very quickly, the last two, a modernized municipal service talks about your revenue considerations, like what do you have to do to change that, and your investment and expense considerations. Some of these you will find familiar. So review and modernize development permitting and other municipal fees. That's being done by Renee Jedry.
What is
Protection. Yeah, prot is protection. I ran out of space. I'm not going to say anything else. Prot, not anything else. Prot. So he's going to do that. He's in the right position to do that. And that, again, a lot of this is underway. It takes time to finish. And then your expense considerations would be, establishing a capital reserve policy. So let's think about the future, and let's understand how much money we should be setting aside for projects in the future. That's your director of finance. That's DOF that will lead that. And things like stakeholder work and downsizing, long-term cost reductions related to Yarmouth Airport Corporation. That's been a long-standing item that was on our old strat plan, so it continues to be there. These are some of the, again, just showing examples. Some of these you might have questions about, and I will stop in like literally 2 minutes to give you that opportunity. The purpose wasn't to say, okay, all of these are good, because they're ever changing. The point is like, do we have permission to start the work? Because we had permission to start this work. Now we actually have to do it. We can't just say we're going to do it, right? So that's really the point of this presentation. Last and not least is the welcoming, healthy, and inclusive environment. A lot of your EDIA recommendations fall under here. It also talks about selling excess land, making land available for real estate, extending the potential of J.E. Hatfield to service a senior population. Those kinds of projects where it talks about alternate ways of living in this community fall into this category, that they would kind of fall into population growth, and they would also fall into not just growth, but like allowing a more livable community. Okay. So, and then there's an inclusion of new residents at the end of that, many of which I may have already spoken about. So long list, right? Long list, 5 years, and this is a moving target. So I will stop. You'll have questions, I'm sure, but I'll stop with this final point and say that the strategic plan that we have set out for you here is going to it's going to produce a spreadsheet, as you know, and that spreadsheet will become part of the presentation that we will do to you on probably a quarterly basis. We wouldn't do it every month. We would do that at the executive meeting of council, and that would be a live updated event. So leaders will be asked to update this when they can. So we have leadership meetings. We'll be pushing for that, and every quarter you'll see where we are on these projects. So you'll be able to kind of keep track of that. So that's the end of that, unless there are questions. I know it's a bit of a long presentation, but it's a big piece. So,
Councillor Song,
Thank you. You haven't got to the little blue boxes yet on the presentation here. However, I love what you've done. It's comprehensive. I had a lot of time. I read through this 3 or 4 times, actually. And it's all there. Great work. I love what you've done, and it's very, very easy to understand at my 5-year age level type thing. There is a lot of questions. For instance, when you go further into this and you've got, is it appropriate that we don't have tourism within our own municipality? Those are good questions. So there's a lot more even as you go on with this. And there's another one here. You mentioned no communication staff, and is that appropriate? Should we have it or not? It's great work. It's something to think about, and we could spend a whole day going through this. And I like everything you've done. Thank you.
Councillor Surratt.
Certainly lofty goals. I see that. I figured right away we'd have an extra, probably 15 employees when I saw the list. Looking at what we had there, but, I hope you haven't scared staff. But once you said it was a 5-year plan, it's a moving plan. Just one thing that I thought was amazing is that business park in Pumlico. I really like that idea. That's really our business hub. And I don't know where you would put that, but what a great idea. It's well needed. Yeah. Good, thank you. That's it.
Councillor Borg.
Yeah, to Guy's point, a business park in Pumlico, is it West Pumlico or Pumlico Head? Or is it, or
I think
off the exit?
Yeah.
So
So that's the head, essentially.
that's Pumlico, yeah. No, it's
It's-
just that it's important to recognize that the whole Pumlicos are together and with business park in the Pumlico. So just say Pumlico, that's all.
That's right.
Just make it clear.
That's good. That's a
Thank
good point.
you.
Good point. Any other questions? Councillor Donaldson.
I move that the action items associated with the strategic plan for 2023, 2028 be approved as presented, and that the CAO finalize the plan for council staff and the public.
Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Saulnier. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, carried. Okay, the next one is the policing priorities. We all received, did you all see the email? I don't know if everybody filled it out. It was asking for what our priorities were. So I think there's what he's going to show there. Yeah, right there, I think, RCMP priority planning. Anybody have any jokes?
Where is it? Is it at the top? Right now. That's what I was looking
Sorry.
I was gonna mime. So this is really, really fast. So what I'm saying is, you guys got the email from the commander, the new commander who Councillor Boudreau mentioned. This is the result of a very quick one question survey. And I would suggest that you have a top 3 here. I know you have some picked other things, but I think your top 3 appears to be, based on this, is traffic safety, crime reduction strategies, and community policing, because it's 4, 3, and 3. I would suggest that you could probably make a motion that if you're in agreement with these 3, then you can make a motion to that effect, and I can make sure the RCMP gets that information. If you want to debate this, that's entirely up to you as well. If you disagree, because surveys are as limited as, let's say, they're limited, right? So you might feel strongly about something here, but it's not for me to debate. That's up to you. I'd say if you're in agreement, then the motion can be made.
I have a couple of people here. I have Councillor Dignan.
Thank you. I personally was one of the ones, I see there's 6 people that filled it out. I was one of the ones that did not fill it out. Reason being I feel as though a lot of these what could be priorities are very, very, yeah, exactly. Or it should be a priority anyway. So I wouldn't want to put one on top of the other. I'm not a professional or an expert in knowing how they do their work, or what the problems they see out there now are. So I didn't want to be one of the ones that people would say, oh, well, council said that wasn't one of their priorities anyway. So that's why there's more crime going on or something like that. So it's felt as far as I was concerned, let them do their work. They see a whole lot of more numbers than we do. They know a whole lot more what's going on around the area than we do as far as illegal activity and stuff like that. And that's the only reason why I did not.
Yeah. From what I hear you saying is that they're all priorities.
They are.
If something comes up, they're going to deal with it. I would hope, just because we say, well, that's the 3 top ones. Something else comes up, I would expect that they're going to deal with it. And I would say, oh, I guess they don't want us to deal with that.
No.
Yeah,
and by no
exactly.
means do I mean that.
No, and that's not how I took it.
Yeah.
That's not how I took it
Yeah.
either. But I'm just saying that yeah, they are all priorities.
Exactly.
Whatever comes up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Councillor Sonia.
Thank you. I had similar thoughts than Councillor Dignan. However, I was a little bit troubled with the top 3, the blue and the traffic safety, distracted driving, and impaired driving. They should all be into one category because they're all talk about driving. So I don't know why they separated those 3. So because of that, I only named 1, but they should all be in the same category. So, and the rest, I totally agree with Councillor Dignan here. I don't know how you can prioritize. Community policing might be in rural a little less than in a town. That's the only difference I see there. But the top 3 should be all in one category personally.
Councillor Boudreau.
Just to address Councillor Dignan and Councillor Saunier, our last meeting, they're really short-staffed. So all these priorities, they probably can't do them all. You know what I mean? So that they want to hear what the people have to say to target what people want. Because I know maybe Kathy or Kathy, how many staff were they short? Like I remember our last meeting, they were short-staffed quite a few.
I don't recall. I know they were short-staffed. There
Yeah.
was people on sick leave
Yeah,
and
stress.
and all that.
Yeah.
But I think with the new lead, I think we're going to be able to see
Yeah.
something better going on.
Yeah.
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 So I agree, they're all priorities, and there's a lot of those categories that can be all combined, like say the traffic safety, yeah. There's 1, 2, 3 that can property crime and theft can go into, crime reduction strategies. That can all go, there's a whole bunch there that can go in there, so I don't know if we can relay that to the policing, that we can probably, combine a few categories together.
I didn't mean to put you on.
No, you didn't put me on spot at
Yeah,
all.
on the
No, that's
spot.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So I see no others coming up. Are we ready to make a motion? I mean, they asked for 3 priorities is what they were asking, basically. So I guess we did what they were asking. But like Councillor Brooks said, to make sure that they realize that we're not saying the rest are not important, you know. So Councillor Surratt.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the police priorities.
The report, seconded. Seconded by Councillor Dontramont, I think is all. If there's no more discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, carried. I was going to say cancel. Carried. Okay, that's, we're at correspondence. We have letter of support, Lake Milo Aquatic Club renovation project. And that went from us to, as support. We have correspondence from the interim manager and board of the airport. I think that was great. I like the report.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that. You know, it gave us kind of an insight of where things were going and where they've gone since we'd heard anything, because it always seemed to be the same no matter what. Like, where are we going with this? What's happening? And it seems like something is in the making now. Hopefully, we'll see something. Now, I have another letter here, and I only found it today. And I apologize for that, because it was stamped on March the 3rd. It was on my desk. Obviously, I don't stop in here as much maybe as I should. But it's a letter, it's for the Order of Nova Scotia. And what they're saying is whether we know someone who could be nominated from our area, because they feel that with our positions, we're probably in better shape to know people that do whatever and that would deserve this. So what I'm going to ask Chantal, if you could make a copy of that and just email it to everybody, because there's contact and there's whatever, so that if you feel like that you know somebody, then this would explain exactly what you would have to do. So I will be passing this on and ask that maybe just email it to everybody so that, okay? So that's it for correspondence. We have financial requests, district community grant from Nouveau Horizon de la Baronnie, $500, and that would be Councillor Dickton, I guess.
That's right, and I'd like to make a motion that we give $500 out of my money that I no longer have to the Nouveau Horizon de la Baronnie. That takes care of my $3,000.
Okay, so you're out of.
No, I'm owed as of tonight. If
Oh, this
if
would be, you still have it then,
That's it.
for this one.
Yeah.
I was going to say, did you ask anybody? You didn't have to. Oh, we need a seconder. Calvin did.
Yeah.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried. So the next is agenda topics for next meeting. Anybody have anything, agenda topics that they want, or notice of motion? Seeing nobody coming forward. Question period. Did we have anything come from the public? Nothing. No question. So we have a motion to go in camera.
Motion to go in camera?
We are now in camera.